So now we're going to get into a little bit more complex version of invoicing. That's where we have a job now that's going to exceed $5,000, and the invoice will be split between Canadian dollars and BarterPay trade dollars. And there's two primary ways of doing that. One is to do it on a single invoice with two separate payments, and so let's set up it in that way. So we're going to invoice marks again, just keep it simple because we have already created marks. And you could do it where you do it all in one line and you say, okay, well now we're going to do a $10,000 job, which we're going to do 60% in trade and 40% in cash. And you could basically say, okay, well, if that's $10,000, then you can put in the terms and conditions or in the notes, and you can just basically note the breakdown. 60% payable in trade dollars and 40% in Canadian dollars. You can get a little bit more advanced than that, and you can actually put it in the individual line. Trade dollars. And so this is going to be $6,000. This is $4,000, and then you can see the amounts there that are broken down. The invoice still totals properly, and so you can do it that way as well. So that's doing it on a singular invoice, so you can save that. And then when you record a payment against the singular invoice, you kind of have to remember how much was barter and how much was trade. Let me just go back and see what that was there. It was 6,780. So we ran the BarterPay transaction for 6,780. I'm going to put in the transaction ID number. And then you can record the separate payment. The check number, that was the check number that was used. And now that's been paid in two payments. So one that was paid to the BarterPay account and one paid to a checking account. I've actually incidentally put that in the BarterPay account, but that's okay for now. The other way to do it is to actually create it as separate invoices. So what you can do is you create one invoice. So do marks again. Catering. $6,000 payable in trade dollars. Note the separate invoice as being issued for $1 component. And you could actually add references in terms of the invoice numbering and stuff that may be different for trade dollars, if you so choose. So now you have the one invoice that's payable in trade dollars. Now you can add another invoice. Where there's a separate invoice in trade dollars again. Obviously in this case we were working with a very basic accounting system, and so there's very little we can set up that's automated. Although Sage is generally very good even at this level, just it means that there's a little bit more manual intervention that is needed on different transactions. And so now you'd have to send these 2 invoices to Marks, one of which is payable by a check or credit card, or whatever form of payment you accept for Canadian dollars, and the other one which is payable via trade dollars, which you would run once Marks has given you their trade card. And those are more or less the 2 ways of recording the invoices. As I noted, you can get into more complexity with respect to invoice numbering, or also how you identify the client. You could also go a step beyond even having the 2 separate invoices for the one Marks Auto Body, and you could have a Marks Auto Body BarterPay and a Marks Auto Body Canadian customer. I wouldn't suggest going to that level, but some people would prefer to, and obviously it is your books, not mine, and so manage it the way that you see fit, but realize as long as the customer is properly recognized as the other business in the transaction.